it back, but it's more than basic. It's a portion of his rap, but the core is ancient. It's supported like a pack of some more observations. They're important like the fact that we're bored of fake shit. More creative, have the floor, so take it. Travel to the core is a normal placement. Tattoos on my arm ain't a...
So, we're back, and I want to stop mentioning the weather, but you got to understand something. Last night, I was in my house and realized I was sweating profusely. So I checked the temperature in my house. It was 79 degrees in my house. 79 degrees. And so I turned on the AC. It's December the, 16th? I turned on the AC to cool my house down. And now, this morning, I've got to, after a hard rain, I've got to wear a jacket to stay outside for more than 3 seconds. This is bullshit. It's just some bullshit, guys. I ain't down with it. But I am down with this podcast, and this podcast is Tattooed with Children. I am the host, Flavor Ray. Across and C-Day, across me and CB is the Dread Pirate Benjamin. And across from us both is the weatherman always gets it right, CIO No Pain.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
All right, let's get this out of the way. Yesterday was a football day, and it was also a day to love to be a Texan.
Yeah.
Both Texas teams won. Both Texas teams won handily.
Yeah.
Although the Texans tried to give it away.
Sure.
The Cowboys could have been arrested for assault at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Listen, Cowboys fans, Cowboys in general, like I see you out there. You're happy that you won a game. It was against a team with a winning record, so you don't have that snide on you anymore. That's great, but act like you've been there. There's no need to sit there and brutalize a person, brutalize a team in front of the parents, in front of the children, just because you're happy that you won a game. I mean, that was just a little uncalled for, in my opinion.
It was. I mean, sorry. It was particularly rough to watch because they had the game in hand like 3 minutes in.
Yeah.
And they never let go of it. And this, by the way, is after not only losing the coin toss, but losing any involvement in the coin toss because you don't know the right words to say.
Yeah, that was...
Wait, okay. Well, wait, I did not watch this because I don't watch the Cowboys.
Okay, so what happened was what you have to say is we defer.
Right.
Right? And Dak said something along the line of, let those bitches do it. Okay?
Yeah.
So not only did the Rams receive the ball in the first half, right?
They also
elected to receive it in both halves.
Yeah, because he didn't say we defer. He said let them answer.
Let them have it.
Let them have it. Yeah. So basically he didn't say the right words and he got punished for it. But then the NFL head office decided they were going to step in and let the Cowboys receive the second half kickoff, which I thought was a bitch move.
It was a definite bitch move.
That like, if that's what you're going to get right, I don't want to watch your game anymore.
Because when have they ever stepped in the middle of a game for anything?
Yeah, they can't step in when someone's getting whacked in the face with a helmet, but,
yeah,
they can step in on that.
But when Dak doesn't know the right words to say, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure he learned at the age of 3.
Yeah, it must have been.
Like
it's so Dak is so weird. Like I've been defending Dak all this entire week.
I fucking love Dak.
I've been defending Dak this entire week from Cowboys fans. Like they were ready to throw this mug under the bus that drove over the bus. They were like, I've given him every chance.
The monster bus.
So you've given him every chance. You,
right?
Martin down here at working KFC.
Yeah, I don't think they have.
So you've given Dak every chance, and he has failed you, and now you elect that he be beheaded.
Right.
So calm down. He's gonna win this game.
Right.
Like I don't know, man. I don't know. Just stop being stupid for a second.
Right.
Just pay attention to the fact that this guy loves football.
Right.
That he's loved football his entire life. That's all he's ever loved his entire life, and he is literally the kid that played Pop Warner and was no good at it, but had a grin the entire time, and so he kept doing it. I mean, I love that guy, and so you gotta have faith in him if you want him to win, and that's all this game was. This was Dak making good on the faith.
I don't know why people have such a problem with Dak. Like, I had a huge problem with Romo, right?
Yeah.
Because he's Tony Romo. I was telling my wife yesterday, he was doing the pregame announcements
Right.
before the Texans game, and I said,
Right.
just look at his face.
Yeah, no, you
Like,
he
you
was-
can punch that face. Look at that.
Let me say that correctly for you. He was trying to do the pregame announcements.
He was talking, and we think that's what he was trying to do.
He was not succeeding.
So, but once Romo left, I realized Romo really wasn't the problem.
Yeah,
Garrett,
Garrett is definitely the problem.
he's the problem.
but he wasn't a problem this week. Tiger Woods has done it again.
Oh God!
I love
just-
Tiger.
This is another guy that loves his sport. He just loves his sport, and so they're down in the President's Cup. I mean,
They were like 12 strokes or
they
like
were
9 strokes.
way
or something.
behind, and you literally saw Tiger Woods hike up his sleeves, look at his team, call them like 6 names that were not their name, and suddenly everybody remembered how to play not only golf, but golf with authority.
Right.
Like, he would hit the ball, chase the fucker down, watch it go in the hole, scoop it up, and not even look behind him.
Right.
I mean, that's when you know you're about to win.
Yeah.
So, like, I always fuck with Tiger Woods, too. Like, for the same way. It's like, yeah, I know he cheated on his wife, and he, faux black, and
Yeah,
all the shit you want to say about that. It's all true.
Right.
I have no problem with that.
Right.
But at the same time, A, I want to be Tiger Woods because he's rich.
Right.
And B, he makes you proud to be an American.
Sure.
He's one of the few people that does. So, yeah. I hats off to Tiger Woods today. I'm asked for several podcasts. I've been asking for you guys to engage with me on social media. And you came through. I've been getting engagement on social media. It's been on Instagram. It's been on Twitter. And it's been interesting. You have a lot of interesting opinions that I'm just going to go over a few of them today.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what's up.
Ray jumps on his OnlyFans account.
Right. I mean, it's like they're the ones that interact the most. I guess it's... I guess it's because I paid them. Anyway, here's one. Okay. Hold on. Let me get to the beginning of it because this is actually great.
Oh man, let me get to the beginning. Hold on, I gotta scroll way back here.
Scrolling.
So, this is about choking during sex. Choking.
Whoa.
So wait, yeah, hold up. Did we ever discuss sex on the podcast?
Yeah, once or twice.
Plenty of times.
But never in this direct, like, and it's, we're discussing sex, but it's not really okay. We're discussing choking during sex, not the actual sex.
Okay, all right.
This is more safe. So this this lady says,
Jesus Christ.
if you're a woman who likes being choked during sex, speaking to guys, you're supposed to squeeze the sides of her neck with your fingers, not crush her windpipe with your palm, you idiot.
Sounds like she had a bad Sunday.
Yeah, I would say that was like a rough day, right? So I respond with, "That's okay if that's okay, but if they squeeze the sides of the neck and they don't know what they're doing, they can depress the arteries on one side or both, which restrict blood flow to the brain, cause you to pass out, or much worse. Depressing the front of the throat slightly to restrict airflow is less likely to cause damage, and passing out is a virtual non-issue." This me coming from Human A&P, right? The class.
Right.
Okay.
Anatomy and physiology.
Not the grocery store anatomy and physiology.
And also having choked a few people. So I'm coming from a position of authority here.
You're coming from a learned position.
Yeah. And so the response was, well, pressure on the front makes you cough and shit. Restricting a little blood flow for a short time gives you that high dizzy feeling. Which is what they're all looking for, guys. In case you didn't realize, like, they're looking for that slightly high euphoric.
They're looking for a lack of oxygen in the brain in order to kill off some brain cells.
And I say, right. if you have experience, you haven't experienced, and this is where I really need your help here. What do you call a person who is good at choking people, like effectively? A chokesman, a chokesmith. You know, like
Ben, this is all yours, man. You're the wordsmith over here.
As if you haven't experienced chokesmith, there's no danger in what I'm not calling a blood choke, which you restrict the blood. There's no danger because you know what he's doing. If you don't have an experience, when as your post suggests you don't, then you're better off getting your partner to lighten up on the front pressure and lay out the top of the throat enough that you get the sensation of danger without the risk of brain damage. Seems fine to me.
Okay. All right, I'm with you.
And then Ronaldo jumps in with, ladies, the best way to get a man to apply the right amount of pressure is when he puts his hand on your throat, grab his hand, and apply the amount of pressure that you want. That way he feels how tight you want it, and hopefully he can continue with the right amount of force.
See, that's a millennial right there.
My exact comment.
That motherfucking millennial.
That is millennial shit right there.
He is used to having motherfuckers walk him through everything.
Oh my God.
You gotta fucking learn shit for yourself, son.
You gotta do the work. You have to do your own work to get positive results.
Yeah, you can't fucking there ain't no you can't Google it.
Okay, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna hold my hand out.
I beg to disagree.
Put your throat into my hand and just press against my hand with your throat with as much force as you want.
Right.
And I'll try to mimic that.
You know, he probably wasn't just a millennial. He was probably a Trekkie too. You know, Captain's log, stardate 724. Jeanette has showed me the right amount of pressure, and I have created a spreadsheet on how to apply the right amount. Fuck off.
Document, don't create.
At that point, it's not even sex anymore. It's not even sex anymore at that point.
You can have a robot do it. Like, you don't need that shit.
That sounds like a great idea.
You need a real human being there who can adjust and flow and move in and out of the position with you, and then recognize. See, and this is the thing that bothers me. The thing that bothers me is everybody's waiting. They're like, well, what's the stock market going to do next? Okay, if I tell you that, and assuming I could be correct, then it's not a game anymore.
Right.
It's not fun. I just quit.
Right.
So you don't want to wait until a lady, assuming it's a lady, we don't know.
It could be a guy,
It could be a dude. We don't want to wait until your partner is like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm dying. Change what you're doing.
Change what you're doing because I'm going to die.
No, you should anticipate that shit.
Yes.
And then...
That's the fun.
And then if the person is like, no, go back to that, then you're like, okay, well, yeah, that's fine. It's fine to give feedback.
Here's what you do. You lock eyes with your partner as you put your pressure onto the sides of the neck, and when their eyes drift from your eyes, stop, because they're about to pass out. It's really that simple. You got to be in tune. You got to be focused. And I know there's a lot going on, but that's the way you do it. If you can't do that, then you can't choke.
Well, and see, that's the thing about sex that I don't entirely get, you know, because I hear, okay, maybe not a lot of my friends, but I hear from some of my friends that they struggle a little bit, you know, and they're like, well, I was with my wife last night, I was with my girlfriend last night, I was with my husband last night, whatever it is, and they're like, yeah, but, you know, I came ttoo soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you didn't come too soon. You just won the race.
Also,
good job, buddy.
Okay, but I'm going to disagree because I have rarely experienced that in 20 years.
Right.
Because I'm in the game. I'm playing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm there.
No, yeah.
And so, like, if I'm playing and I'm having a good time, then I'm paying attention to you, not what's going on with my shit.
Right.
Am I wrong there?
No, you're not.
About where your focus should be? Your focus should be on the other person.
You're absolutely correct. I've always viewed sex as being an exchange of energy. And so if you're receiving something, then you're also giving something. if you take too much, things go badly because you haven't given enough. So I've very rarely experienced a situation where I was found lacking in that area. It has happened probably once or twice. It has happened that I got a little carried away with the energy exchange and ended up making a baby. That has occurred, but it's very rare that my partner was like, "Hey, you haven't given enough. I'm gonna need some more." That hasn't happened very often.
Yeah, because your focus is on the other person.
Yeah.
Your focus is not on yourself. If your focus is on yourself, you're going to last like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of hearing about these motherfucking minute and a half men. They're ruining it for everybody.
It's the majority of them, though. See, that's what I was saying. It's like, Ben, we like some podcasts ago. You were like, people are having too much sex or something. And I was like, no, I have enough sex. He said, well, they have sex. So look,
I don't think I ever said people are having too much
or
sex.
it was, I forgot exactly what it was said. It was some podcast ago,
That
but it was
does not-
something
that does not sound like
I
me.
remember I was having to say, like, people aren't having enough sex. Like, they
Biblical
need enough
relations are one of the strong suits of my family.
Yeah, it really is. They got a bunch of kids in that crew. Yeah, I was saying, like, people aren't having enough sex. I meant not just the number of encounters, but the encounters themselves are like 5 minutes. Like,
Right.
you get in there, there's a little kiss, there's a little tickle, and you get in and it's like, all right, and here we go, and then it's okay. Sorry about that. Let's move on.
All right, let's on that sound, let's take a quick break.
All right.
My name ain't Mikey, but yeah, I rock. You know why? Because I don't give a fuck. That's why it doesn't matter whether I'm...
And we're back with Tattoo with Children. Some of you guys, we're talking about some of the engagement I've been getting with you guys through social media. Cause it's been a lot, and you guys deserve to hear that I read your comments. For those of you who have found the podcast and then went and found my Madara Shout on Instagram and have been enjoying the food pics, thank you for your kind feedback. I really, really, really enjoy making food. I really enjoy finding interesting restaurants, and I enjoy taking the pictures of them to encourage people to cook, more. I think that people don't cook enough, and B, to encourage you to support your local restaurants, because if I can find something really awesome to eat here in the backwoods of East Texas, it should be very easy to find it wherever the hell you are, which probably has more people. So, thank you for that. To get back on the subject of sex, in a way, this is not as much fun. But I had a long interaction with a cat about abortion, and I don't want to go into his position on abortion or my position on abortion, except to say this: that we were both dudes having this discussion. Mm-hmm. And the only way to end that discussion is to say, hey, I have a dick. I have no opinion. Does that make sense, guys?
It does.
So, like, in this particular subject, I really don't have much of an opinion because I really don't know. Like, I'll say this, what drew my attention to him was he was insistent that the majority of abortions, the motivation behind them is convenience.
Okay.
And my position was, if 30% of all women will be raped before the age of 17, mm-hmm. and 85% of all sexual assaults go unreported, then it makes sense to me that there would be an underreporting of the reasons behind abortion as well. It just seems logical to me that maybe she wants to avoid the SAE kid and the stigma and the trial trauma and all that shit, and then would just want to go on with her life as best she can and just go ahead and have an abortion and tell the CDC whatever the fuck they want to hear.
Yeah. I mean, this is a hard one for me because I think it gets into that area where we need to have some guests on because it's actually a little difficult for me to even have the conversation because I grew up. It's not that I don't want to, by the way. I grew up in a culture that essentially I feel like let the required male opinions on this subject,
Right.
and occasionally allowed a female perspective. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the reasons why we are in the place we are in society today.
I think so.
And so it's very difficult for me to feel authentic, if I can use that word,
Sure.
like having this conversation without a woman.
Yeah. No, this isn't a like I like the first time I ever heard the term abortion, knew what it meant. I was a kid, and my sister was studying like civil law in school. Mm-hmm. I think she was in high school. Like I was really young, and I said abortion's wrong because you're killing a baby. Mm-hmm. And she was like, "Well, it's my body, so how can anything I do with my body be wrong?"
Right.
I was like, "Well, that's bullshit. It's a baby's body," and she's arguing with a moron kid. But it got me thinking, and so the next time I encountered abortion, I looked up what it meant to be pregnant, learned what all that shit was about,
right,
and was like, "Oh yeah, that's fucking terrible. You got to have a fucking parasite eating you for 9 months."
right,
Yeah, if you opt out of that, I don't blame you.
right.
And so for years, I was like, "Hey, abortion's fine. It's the woman's choice." And as I grew up, eventually I came to the much more mature, I think, idea of I have a dick. I don't really have an opinion because I don't even know. Like even in cases of rape or incest, I don't know what's going through your head. I don't know what went through your head last month when you had a period. Mm-hmm. You know, like I honestly can't even begin to give an opinion about it because I have no basis for knowledge.
Right.
So that's like I just want to say, like, you know, like if I disengage with you on any issue, it'll be about abortion. I'll probably disengage on that. I won't disengage on pretty much any other issue.
Yeah.
But just I did hear you, guy. Like, you know, I'm glad you listen and you're part of the conversation. I do value your opinion and your existence, but it's that I don't have an opinion here.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and then we had Mike Crawford from Instagram. He came by.
Oh yeah.
Drove down from. We were having a super busy night Saturday, and drove down and hung out with us for a little bit. We did not get to meet his wife. She was having a little allergy attack from being in the piney woods.
Understandable.
But we did get to meet him. That was dope.
Our trees like to kill us here, so I can understand how she would be upset.
And then, of course, we get a lot of feedback, a lot of book recommendations from Loud House CrossFit.
They are great people at Loud House CrossFit.
A lot of podcast recommendations that I've really enjoyed.
We've gotten. I have of course been listening to Going Dutch. There is I still can't remember the name of this podcast, but there's a podcast for runners in Lufkin that is getting really popular.
Okay.
You know, my wife is a runner, and so she listens to this podcast, and it's a good podcast. But I haven't subscribed to it, so I can't get the name out. But I'm going to get on the next podcast. I'm going to tell the name of this particular podcast because it's a Lufkin-based podcast, and it's an interest-based podcast that is actually helpful.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get on top of that.
Well, and you guys go to our page, whether you're jumping over to Facebook, Tattooed with Children, or our Instagram, or even on Twitter, you're hitting us up individually, pain points. Let us know what podcast you listen to, because we're really fascinated by how much we're learning.
I'm really fascinated by the whole. I didn't realize that podcasting was an art until I started doing it. I said, man, there's a certain there's a certain amount of actual skill necessary for this, and so listening to other people do it and do it well has been thrilling. Mm-hmm. Like it's like I sort of understand how artists feel now when they're like, "Hey, that's a good painting." Right. It's like I knew what it would take to get into that. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and before this, I only listened to Joe Rogan. Mike, did you listen to any other podcasts?
Not particularly. Every once in a while, I'd catch some tech podcasts, but nothing. I was never a regular listener to anything.
Okay.
All right. More feedback. On Twitter, I've been having some very good conversations. They have been not as positive. Okay. I would say, I've had a couple of them that were not great. I'm going to start with the one that I think had the most vitriol.
Okay.
So this lady named Sandra. That's her actual name, but she also goes by Gluten Free Doll on the Twitter.
Okay.
And she posted that if you come on your next function, go to a function and somebody refuses to eat, mm-hmm. then don't question them. Don't make them feel like it's a problem that they're not eating. The fact they want to eat or not what is none of your business. Just move on with the function.
Okay.
And I responded in my delicate way with, if I invite you to an eating function at my house and you don't want to eat, then get the fuck out of my house.
Right.
This is an ancient law that still is valid, is what my response was.
Well, that was slightly less than delicate, but continue the story.
She assumed I was trolling her. Mm-hmm. I informed her that I was not trolling her at all. I was actually very much in tune with what she was saying. I just think that if you're going to be invited to a place to eat and a person has taken their time to prepare you food, mm-hmm. then you either eat the food, don't show up, or tell them why you're not eating the food. Mm-hmm. And her response was like, well, you go to a function to socialize, not necessary to do. And it's not safe to eat sometimes because of... Dude, listen, I have more food allergies, food restrictions than any person that I know. Mm-hmm. If you were to create an Asian Hasidic Jew and they were hardcore kosher, they would have fewer food restrictions than me.
Okay.
I do not, as a rule, force other people to adjust to my food restrictions. I don't.
Okay.
I'll either not show up, bring my own food, or I will
explain to the host.
Suffer.
Okay.
And I will. But what I would definitely explain what's going on, mm-hmm. because this person has taken. I know how much time it takes to put together a function featuring food. And for somebody to come in and go, well, it's my right to be at your function, and I don't have to eat, I don't have to participate the way that you want, I can just be at your party and party the way that I want to. That is the height of rudeness. Is it not? Am I the asshole here? She got very upset with me. She couldn't stay with that conversation.
I feel like that's a victim in search of a victimizer.
A victim in search of a victimizer.
I can.
She's looking for a reason to be mad.
I think it's a very Texan thing.
Is it a very? Is that a Texan thing?
I think it's a deeply Southern thing, and I guess to put a more a more direct pin in it, it is a very ancient thing.
Yeah, it is. It's part of the rules of hospitality.
Right.
Like I was telling my wife called attention to it as the conversation going on. she was like, said, well, sometimes we go out and we can't. So yeah, like I don't. It's not somebody else's job to make sure I can eat. Like it's particularly at a function.
Right.
Yeah. So like for example, the story Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. Mm-hmm. They got the last guy, the leader of the 40 Thieves, because he hunted Alibaba down, and then got into his house like, "Hey, I'm a stranger." And Alibaba said, "Hey, come on in and eat," like you do in the ancient world.
Right.
And they sat down, and he's like, "Hey, I don't eat salt because my doctor says it's bad for me." And so immediately, one of the servants who's up on the ball said, "Show me the face of the man who doesn't eat salt with me." They looked at him and, yeah, we're going to kill that guy. Because if you don't eat my salt at my table, that means you do not consider me your brother.
Okay.
And so you go down for that.
And this is why you salt all your meat, people.
That's the main reason, is because if you don't, someone will come murder you. No, it's like, it's guys, we should not take our rights in parentheses over other people's rights. Like I understand that we all have a certain amount of entitlement. I think that we need to think about the other guy's entitlement first, more often, as just a matter of hospitality.
Yeah, but that goes back. I think that goes back to the conversation about sex. It seems,
well, yeah, it does. It does.
It seems to me to be a little bit of a commentary on our lack of focus.
Yeah.
It's not that we don't do that. It's just that we don't do it for long.
Yeah.
We're like, oh well, I got to consider my mother's feelings. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
And it's and it's like, bro, I get it. Like, for instance, I smoke. So
right.
No one in my family does.
Right.
Okay, my wife doesn't, my kids don't, my dad, mom, brothers, sisters, in-laws, no one in my family smokes. Mm-hmm. So when I go to Thanksgiving or Christmas, I wear the clothes I always wear, so I got a pack of cloves in my jacket.
Right.
I don't take it out of my jacket because I'm going to my mother's house.
Right.
But I also don't throw my jacket on the bed with all the other jackets. Mm-hmm. You know how you walk in that guest room and everybody throw the pile on the bed? No, I don't do that. I keep my jacket with him. If I find maybe an out-of-the-way hanger or an out-of-the-way place, why? Because I assume I'm focused. I assume that my jacket has a smoker smell to it.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of an odor.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of an odor to it. So maybe leave it near the door. Maybe leave it in the car. Whatever. Even if I take it in with me, still I'm not putting it with the other clothes.
Right.
Okay. So then I can generally, I can go easily 3 to 4 hours without a clove cigarette.
Right.
That's not a problem.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with that. Now, if Uncle Bill comes over and is like, you know what, fuck you, Ben, and, I just think you've made a mistake with those tattoos. I'll be like, Uncle Bill, I totally agree with you. Excuse me. And I'll go smoke a cigarette.
Right.
Now, if that doesn't happen, I probably will not smoke at my mother's.
Right. Which makes sense.
Because I'm focused, at least for that 4 to 6 hours, on my mother.
Because it's a short period of time.
Right.
And 2, it's just the right thing to do.
Yeah, it doesn't, this is not about my right. Of course I have the right to smoke.
Yes, you do have the right to smoke.
I have the right to do anything the fuck I fucking want. Rights are not something you're given.
Right.
Rights are something you take with your hands. So no one can give me the right to smoke. But I have taken that right as I choose.
Right.
So, but the reality is, in that situation, the right thing to do is not to impose my belief system on other people.
Right.
I'm at my mother's house.
So, all right, guys, I'm going to take this porch that my mother owns, and now it's my porch. I'm going to fill it with smoke.
Right.
You know, like that's not something that you should do.
That's disrespectful. It's rude.
Disrespectful.
And so, what do I do when Uncle Bill? I don't have an Uncle Bill, by the way. But what do I do when that uncle comes over and says, "Hey, you know, you've made a lot of life mistakes with those tattoos. I also choose not to get into a pissing contest with him.
Right.
I already know whose dick is bigger.
Right.
It's mine.
Right.
And I'm going to just bow out of the conversation because I don't want to embarrass my mother. I don't want to embarrass her family. I don't want to embarrass my family.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go outside. And what am I going to do? I'm going to walk down the driveway a bit so I can appear to be slightly out of eyesight of the children. Why? Because I don't assume any of the parents there have already talked to their kids about smoking.
Correct.
Now, that is very different than the public.
Yes.
So if I am smoking at 302 Mantooth and you drive your child by 302 Mantooth, your child will know about smoking and you will have to have a conversation because you made the choice to take your child out in what is known as public.
Yeah.
People can be murdered there. People can do things you don't like there. People wear clothes there. People hurt each other there. People are kind to each other. Anything that could happen in humanity
Happens out in the public. Happens in the streets.
Yeah.
That's what we call it. We call it the streets.
Yeah.
And if you come to 302 Mantooth or to my house or to any of my other businesses and you begin to act the way that you want to act, and that is contrary to the way that I wish for you to behave, I will ask you to leave. And that is my right because that is my property.
Yes, it's a paid for right. It's a purchased right.
It's a purchased right. So if I invite you, see, this is what I kept coming to, said she was like, well, this doesn't affect you. This isn't anything. If a person doesn't eat, that doesn't affect you negatively. I said, what gives you the thought that you have the right to act the way that you want at my fucking function?
Yeah, when you go to another person's house, I almost would make the argument that your rights cease to exist.
Your rights cease at the door. You're now in my world.
Now it's their rights.
Yes.
So if grandma has been smoking clove cigarettes since 3 a.m. and the whole house and everything in it, we all had that grandmother that you go to their house, right?
Yeah.
And the napkins smell like cigarettes.
Literally, the cat is choked.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you're just like, Grandma, I love you, man. But, like, how do you smoke this much? I've never smoked indoors. Be like -3 degrees outside, and I'm out there smoking. I would never smoke inside.
Come in, all the grandkids running around. Grandma's sitting in an easy chair, lights up right in the middle of the goddamn living room.
Right. Like, how do you do that?
That's the lady who dies from spontaneous combustion.
At the age of 107.
Yeah. It took that long to have that accident, but it happened.
The point is, I'm not going to ask my grandmother to put her cigarette out. Why? Because her fucking house. She owns the goddamn house. If I don't like cigarette smoke, I ain't got to show up.
Yeah.
I ain't got to be there. My kids ain't got to be there.
That's right.
You know, that's it. Dude, if you come to if I say, hey, I'm having a dinner party, guess what the party is about? The dinner. So, well, I can't eat that. Okay, I guess you can't come. Well, I do want to come and see you guys and talk. I said, well, we can do that on a different occasion.
Well, or you can do what I do sometimes. You can put some food on a plate and pick around at it.
Yeah.
And pretend like unless you're going to die. Like, for instance, don't you have a thing with, like, oranges?
Oranges, yeah.
Yeah, so, like
I don't eat oranges, and I can't be in a room if you open an orange, I got to leave.
Yeah, no, it's pretty great. Like, I opened an orange once, and I was, like, 12 feet from Ray, and he, like, started having an attack immediately. And the reason I say it was hilarious is because I had never thought about air.
Right.
Like, it had never crossed my mind, you know? So I'm like, motherfucker, I'm 12 feet away from you.
Air is a thing.
And, like, oranges, like, they have that hard skin with the oil in it. So you crack that skin, and it just goes everywhere instantly.
But it's not, sometimes it's not visible to the human eye. And
right,
that's
no,
what I mean.
not.
That's what I mean by I hadn't thought, until I started smoking, I never really thought about air.
Right.
But then I got fascinated with air.
Right, how far it goes when you blow it out.
like you blow it out of your lungs, go like 19 feet.
Yeah.
But not fascinated enough to think about the orange and Ray.
No, this was before.
Well, no, you were smoking by then.
Yeah, I was smoking by then.
But it's.
I just didn't think. I didn't think like it was like 15 feet away. Like this isn't gonna hit him.
If you peel a banana across a room, I can't smell the banana.
Yeah, I'm not
you
gonna
peel an orange. Everybody can smell that shit instantly.
Right,
like the whole room.
But I'm not like rubbing the orange on you.
Right,
I'm not like, hey, bro, die now.
And I didn't really expect that I would start to react. And so when my shit started closing up, I was like, oh shit, I got to get out of here.
Right.
So I like ran for the door.
Yeah, and then I feel like an asshole because I'm like, I know this. Like again, it's a matter of focus.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to overemphasize that because I do think there's a different point here about how our rights change when we're in someone else's domain.
Yes. Like that's the whole thing. And if the thing that tipped me was the idea that I don't have any authority, any rights, any need to have an explanation for why you're at my why you're at my party, making it awkward. You know, it's like if you invite somebody on a date and you guys go to a restaurant to eat and sit down and you order your food and they go, no, I'm not ordering.
Right. Well, it just ceased to be a date.
It's not. Yeah. Now it's just you watching me eat. Is that what we're gonna do now?
Right. Like then now I'm thinking either you're really creepy, or you don't like me.
And I go, why? And they go, well, it's none of your business as to why. I'm not eating. I'm just.
No, we're on a date. The
Like
rules.
the first thing I think is, fuck you too. I'm out.
Me not eating doesn't affect you negatively. I'm just gonna sit here.
It definitely affects me negatively.
That is not what we agreed to.
Thank you. Like how is this? Like I was going nuts on. Like that's the reason why we couldn't stay in conversation. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
You know, it's like I just said, well, you're so invested. So I'm not invested. You're just stupid.
Yeah.
You're just a goddamn moron.
No, I mean I've been married 21 years.
Yeah.
Okay, which means I've been with this person for 23. With Sarah for 23.
Yeah.
And still, we understand that if I say, hey, do you want to go out to dinner? She's not watching me.
Right, no, yeah. You're going to have to eat.
We are going out to dinner.
Dude, I can't even do that in my house.
Right.
Like when a lot of times I'll cook, and I cook like for a whole herd when I cook. Like it's just the style of cooking that I learned. And so I'm exhausted at the end. And so I'm like, all right, everybody, get your plates and food's ready.
Yeah.
And they get the plate and sit down, and then I just sit down and I'm on my phone, catch my breath.
Yeah.
And wife is like, are you going to eat?
Yeah, eat some fucking food, asshole. Don't let us sit here and watch us.
I'm like, no, I'm not. Okay, let me look. Because I know what it's like to sit there and like everybody's eating but you. What's wrong with this motherfucker?
Right.
So
It's like this is one of my biggest problems with people in general is food.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's so huge. Don't take food that isn't yours. If you are offered food, you eat food. Or you authentically explain why you cannot. I even accept, look, man, I can't eat the pork. It's against my religion. Hey, brother, that's cool.
Dude, that's
Thank
fine.
you for being honest.
That is straight up fine. Like, or I can't eat pork because I don't like it. Like, okay, that's cool. We all got food preferences.
Yeah.
That's like a conversation helps everything. Zero conversation means nothing gets better. Like if you come to a party and you don't eat the food, whoever made the food thinks that you think they're a piece of shit.
Right. The minute you tell me it's none of my business, right? You've also described exactly how you feel about our relationship.
Yeah, how you value me.
Exactly.
And like that's not okay. If you don't mean it, if you do mean it, it's fine. Fuck you. Go somewhere else. Or I'll go somewhere else. We're going to part ways for life. Let's see. It was social media interaction. I have more engagements. Like, dude, you guys really are doing the right thing here as far as following my instructions. I have a whole other fantastic conversation that I think is probably going to be most of another podcast. I want to say, keep it up. Like this is thrilling. this has me really, really excited for what I'm doing and for what I'm going to be doing in the future. So I want to hear more from you on every subject. I don't want anything to be taboo. Like, like I said, I might opt out of a certain conversation. I might not talk about this subject until I have the right guest on to talk about certain things. But nothing is forbidden. You can talk about anything. You can call me anything. Like, I'll stick with it for as long as we have to get a conversation going, because that's what I'm aiming to do. I believe my mission is that the conversation is going to help, and so I'm going to keep going for the conversation. And the conversation is happening on Tattooed with Children, worth listening to. This is the podcast, Tattooed with Children, and you can find us on Facebook at Tattooed with Children. You can find us on Instagram at Tattooed with Children. You can find us on Twitter at Tattooed with. You can find me on Twitter at Hunter Vanguard, all one word, Hunter Vanguard. You can find Ben on Instagram at Black Crow Brother. You can find him also on Instagram at Black Spot Tattoo Company. You can find Mike Payne on Instagram at Payne.points and also at CIO Payne. That is Payne spelled Payne. And you can also, if you so choose, find us on Patreon at Tattoo with Children. Well, not at Tattoo, just Tattoo with Children. Patreon, Tattoo with Children. It's a 3-tiered support system that we have going on here. For a mere $5, you can have access to all of our bonus content. Some of it's already up. A lot more of it's going up. There's going to be hours of bonus content because we've already got it in the can. It's got to post it. And it's a great value. Look at the other tiers. There's other stuff there to check out. So please check it out. That's all I want to say.
All right.
I love you guys.
Later.
Oh, one more thing.
Yeah.
Wanted to make sure I said this. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself, both physically and mentally. I'm seeing a lot of people that are in a struggle position right now. Like, you know what I mean when I say a struggle position. It's hard. I want you to know 2 things. One, you're not alone. You have a lot of company. A lot of us are struggling right now. And 2, you owe it to everyone around you to take care of yourself. That is what you owe them. Because if you don't make it, they don't make it. If you don't make it, I don't make it. If you don't make it, Ben don't make it. You hear what I'm saying, guys? Take care of yourselves
Absolutely.
before you take care of anybody else. Love you.
See ya.
We were born to bring it back, but it's more than basic. It's a portion of its rap, but the core is ancient. It's supported like a pack of some warmth